The first time she kissed me, my girlfriend was upstairs getting ready for dinner, and I was standing in the kitchen pretending I did not feel my heart racing out of my chest. I never meant for any of this to happen. I swear I did not. My name is Ethan Miller. I was 28, living in Austin, Texas, working a normal job in marketing. My life was simple. I had a beautiful girlfriend named Chloe. We had been dating for almost a year. She was kind, funny, and the type of girl who talked about the future like it was already planned. She wanted marriage. She wanted kids. She wanted a house with a white fence. And I wanted that too. At least I thought I did. The first time I met her mom, everything changed. Her name was Laura Bennett. She was 45, maybe 46. She did not look it. She had long, dark brown hair that fell over her shoulders, soft green eyes, and a calm voice that made you lean in closer without knowing why. She lived in a beautiful house just outside the city, near Lake Travis, the kind of place with tall windows, soft lights, and quiet evenings. When Chloe told me I would finally meet her mom, I was nervous. That was normal. Every guy feels that way. But the second Laura opened the front door, something strange happened. She looked at me in a way I could not explain. Not like a mother judging her daughter's boyfriend. Not cold, not strict. It felt warm. Too warm. I shook her hand, but she held it just a second longer than she needed to. Her fingers were soft. Her perfume was light, something sweet and clean. I told myself I was imagining things. Dinner that night felt different. Chloe talked most of the time, telling stories from work, laughing loudly. I tried to focus on her voice, but I kept feeling Laura's eyes on me. Every time I looked up, she was watching me, not in a rude way, just aware. After that night, I found excuses not to visit. If Chloe wanted to go to her mom's house, I said I had work. If she suggested family brunch, I said I felt sick. I told myself it was respect. I did not want to be around temptation. I loved Chloe. I would never hurt her. But the truth was harder to admit. Being near Laura made me feel alive in a way I had not felt before. Months passed like that. Chloe complained that I did not try hard enough with her family. I promised I would do better. I lied and said I was just shy. She believed me. Then, one Friday evening, everything fell apart. Chloe had a last-minute work event. She needed to stop by her mom's house to pick up some papers she had left there. She asked me to drive her because her car was in the shop. I wanted to say no. I almost did. But I saw the disappointment in her eyes before the words even came out. So I agreed. We drove in silence. My hands felt tight on the steering wheel. When we pulled into the driveway, the house lights were glowing warm against the dark sky. It looked peaceful, safe. It was not. Laura opened the door before we even knocked. She was wearing a simple white blouse and dark jeans. Her hair was down. She smiled when she saw us, but her eyes stopped on me. Chloe ran upstairs to grab the papers, talking about how she would be quick. I stood in the kitchen again, the same place where I had promised myself I would never stand alone with her mother. Laura poured herself a glass of wine. She offered me one. I said no. My voice felt dry. For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. The air felt heavy. Then she said my name softly, Ethan. I looked at her. That was my mistake. She stepped closer. Not too close, but close enough that I could smell her perfume again. Close enough that I noticed the small line near her eye when she smiled. You have been avoiding me, she said. It was not a question. I tried to laugh it off. I said I had been busy. I said work was crazy. The lies felt weak even to me. She took another step forward. You do not have to pretend, she whispered. My heart was pounding so loud I was sure she could hear it. I told her this was wrong. I told her Chloe would be back any second. I told myself to move away. But I did not move. She reached up and touched my chest lightly, right over my heart. It felt like fire under my shirt. I see the way you look at me, she said. And I know you see it too. Quote, I wanted to deny it. I wanted to walk out of that house and never come back. Instead, I stayed frozen while she lifted her hand to my face. Everything slowed down. The sound of Chloe moving upstairs felt far away. The room felt smaller, warmer. Laura looked into my eyes for one long second. Then she kissed me. It was soft at first, almost gentle, like she was giving me time to stop her. I did not stop her. The kiss deepened just slightly, enough to make my knees weak. My hands hovered in the air like I did not know where to place them. My mind screamed that this was betrayal, that this was the worst thing I could do. But my body did not listen. When she finally pulled back, my breath was uneven. Her eyes were darker now, full of something I could not name. And just as I was about to say something, I heard footsteps coming down the stairs. Chloe was on her way back. And I had no idea what I was going to do next. The moment Laura stepped back from me, my entire body felt like it had been dropped into cold water. I could still feel the warmth of her lips. My heart was beating so hard that it made my chest ache. For a second I just stood there, staring at her, trying to understand what had just happened. Then we both heard Chloe's footsteps on the stairs. Laura moved away from me quickly. Her calm expression returned so smoothly that it almost made me question if the kiss had even happened. She picked up her wine glass and leaned lightly against the kitchen counter like nothing was wrong. I ran a hand through my hair and tried to breathe normally. A second later, Chloe walked into the kitchen holding a folder in her hands. She smiled the moment she saw us. "I found it," she said happily. My throat felt dry, but I forced a small smile. Chloe walked over and gave me a quick kiss on the cheek. The guilt hit me like a heavy wave. Laura watched us quietly while Chloe talked about the papers she needed for her meeting the next morning. Her voice filled the room, bright and cheerful, while my mind kept replaying the last 30 seconds. The kiss. The way Laura looked at me. The way I did not stop her. We left a few minutes later. Chloe hugged her mom at the door and thanked her again for keeping the documents safe. Laura hugged her back warmly. Then her eyes moved to me. It was only a second. But the look said everything. When Chloe stepped outside, Laura leaned closer to me near the door. Her voice was barely a whisper. "This conversation is not finished." Then she smiled like a normal mother again and waved as we walked to the car. The drive home felt strange. Chloe talked about her work event and the people she would meet there. I nodded when I needed to and kept my eyes on the road. Inside my head, nothing felt normal anymore. I told myself the kiss was a mistake, a moment of weakness, something that would never happen again. Laura had crossed a line, and I should stay away from her even more. But the truth was harder to admit. Part of me wanted to see her again. That thought alone made me feel sick with guilt. Over the next few days, I tried to forget about it. I focused on work. I spent more time with Chloe. I took her out for dinner, watched movies with her, and tried to be the boyfriend she deserved. She seemed happy. But every time my phone buzzed, my heart jumped. 3 days after the kiss, the message finally came. It was from Laura. I stared at the screen for a long time before opening it. The message was simple. "Can we talk?" Just 3 words. I put the phone down and walked around my apartment like I was trying to escape the message. I knew what talking meant. I knew where that road could lead. But ignoring her felt impossible too. After an hour of thinking, I picked up my phone again. I typed back slowly, "What do you want to talk about?" Her reply came almost immediately. "You know." My stomach tightened. Another message appeared. "Meet me tomorrow afternoon, Lake Travis Cafe." I knew the place. It sat right near the water, quiet during weekdays, not many people around in the afternoon. My fingers hovered over the screen. Every logical part of my brain told me to say no. But curiosity can be stronger than logic. And if I was honest with myself, it was not just curiosity. The next afternoon, I parked outside the cafe with a nervous feeling in my chest. The lake water sparkled in the sunlight, and a warm breeze moved through the trees. Laura was already there. She sat at a table near the railing that overlooked the water. She wore a light blue dress and sunglasses. From a distance, she looked calm and relaxed. When she saw me walking toward her, she slowly removed the sunglasses. Her eyes locked onto mine. The same tension from the kitchen returned instantly. I sat across from her, trying to act normal. A waitress came by and took our drink orders. Neither of us spoke until she walked away. Finally, Laura leaned slightly forward. "I was wondering if you would come," she said. "I almost didn't," I admitted. She gave a small smile. But you did. The waitress returned with our drinks and left again. The silence between us felt thick. I decided to say the thing that had been stuck in my head since the kiss. That night should not have happened. Laura watched me carefully. You didn't stop me. Her calm tone made my chest tighten again. I should have, I said. She tilted her head slightly. Did you want to? Quote. The question hit harder than I expected. I looked away for a moment, watching the sunlight on the water. The honest answer was dangerous, but lying felt pointless. I don't know, I said quietly. Laura studied my face like she was searching for something deeper. Then she spoke again. You have been fighting this since the day we met. I looked back at her quickly. That's not true. It is, she said softly. I saw it the first night. My pulse quickened. Laura, this is wrong, I said. Chloe is my girlfriend. She nodded slowly. I know. The calm way she said it confused me. Then why are we here? I asked. For a moment she did not answer. The wind moved a few strands of her hair across her face. She brushed them back and looked directly into my eyes. Because pretending nothing is happening will not make it disappear. Her words made my chest feel tight again. Then she added something that made everything even more complicated. There is something you don't know about Chloe. My eyebrows pulled together in confusion. What do you mean? Quote. Laura leaned back slightly in her chair. Her expression became serious. I didn't plan to tell you this today, she said slowly, but after what happened between us, you deserve to know. My stomach twisted with a sudden uneasy feeling. What are you talking about? Laura looked out at the lake for a moment, then back at me. And when she finally spoke again, the words made my entire world feel like it was about to change. Chloe hasn't been completely honest with you. When Laura said Chloe had not been completely honest with me, my chest felt tight. I stared at her, waiting for her to explain. The calm lake behind her did not match the storm rising inside me. What are you talking about? I asked again. Laura held her glass in both hands. For the first time since I met her, she looked unsure. Chloe is planning to move, she said quietly. The words did not make sense at first. Move? Where? Boston, she replied. She got a job offer 2 weeks ago. I blinked. My mind felt slow. That's not possible, I said. She would have told me. Laura shook her head gently. She wanted to. She has been scared. Scared of what? Of losing you. The air felt heavy again. She thinks you're not fully committed. Laura continued. She feels you pulling away. She believes if she tells you about Boston, you might not follow. The guilt inside me grew even stronger. I had been pulling away. I had been distracted, but not for the reason Chloe thought. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Laura's eyes softened. Because I don't want you to make choices based on half the truth. I let out a slow breath and leaned back in my chair. Boston. A new city. A new life. Chloe had been talking about future plans, but she never mentioned leaving Texas. Does she want to go? I asked quietly. Laura hesitated. She says it's a big opportunity, a step forward, but she also said she would stay if you asked her to. That sentence hit hard. I felt torn in a way I had never felt before. Part of me loved Chloe. I cared about her deeply. She was safe. She was steady. She saw a clear future for us. But sitting across from Laura, I felt something different, something stronger, something that scared me. Why do I feel like there's more? I asked. Laura's expression changed slightly. There was sadness in her eyes now. There is, she admitted. My heart started racing again. What else? Quote. She looked down at the table for a moment before speaking. Chloe told me she's planning to propose to you. The world around me felt like it paused. Propose? I repeated. Laura nodded. She bought a ring. She wanted to surprise you next month. I felt like the air had been knocked out of my lungs. I tried to imagine Chloe proposing. I tried to imagine saying yes. And suddenly I realized something painful. I was not sure I could. Laura watched my face carefully. You didn't know, she said softly. No, I whispered. Silence fell between us again, but this time it felt heavier. The truth was sitting on the table now. Chloe was planning her whole future around me. She was ready to commit completely. And I had just kissed her mother. The guilt felt almost unbearable. "I need to tell her," I said suddenly. Laura's eyes widened slightly. "Tell her what?" "About the kiss." The words felt sharp and dangerous, but honest. Laura's voice became firm. "That would destroy her." I looked at her. "It already feels wrong." "Yes, it does," she said. "But ask yourself why." I frowned. "What do you mean?" "Is it wrong because of the kiss?" she asked softly. "Or because it showed you something you've been trying to ignore?" Her question went straight to my chest. I closed my eyes for a moment. When I imagined losing Chloe, I felt sadness. When I imagined never seeing Laura again, I felt panic. That difference scared me more than anything. Laura stood slowly from her chair and walked toward the railing by the lake. I followed her without thinking. We stood side by side, looking at the water. "I never meant to cross that line," she said quietly. "I tried to ignore it too." "Then why didn't you?" I asked. She turned toward me. "Because the connection is real." The word connection echoed in my head. "I'm your daughter's boyfriend," I said, almost to remind both of us. "Yes," she replied. "And that's why this is so complicated." The wind blew stronger now, moving her hair across her face. Without thinking, I reached up and brushed it away. The simple touch sent electricity through me again. She looked up at me, and for a second, the world felt small. "I don't want to hurt Chloe," I said. "Neither do I," she answered. "Then what are we doing?" Laura stepped closer, not touching me yet. "We're being honest about what we feel." My breathing became uneven again. Being near her made it hard to think clearly. "What if this is just attraction?" I asked. "What if it's just something wrong and intense?" She shook her head slowly. "If it was just that, it would have faded months ago." She was right. I had tried to avoid her for months. I had tried to stay distant. But every time I thought about her, something inside me tightened. "I feel like I'm losing control of my own life," I admitted. Laura reached for my hand this time. Her fingers wrapped around mine gently. "You still have control," she said. "But you need to decide what you truly want." Quote. The weight of her words pressed down on me. A future with Chloe meant stability, comfort, and everything that made sense on paper. A future with Laura meant chaos, judgment, and probably losing everyone's respect. But it also meant something that felt raw and real. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out. It was Chloe. A picture message. I opened it slowly. My stomach dropped. It was a photo of a small velvet box. The ring. Under the photo, she had written one line. "Do you think he'll say yes?" I looked up at Laura. Everything had just become impossible. I stared at the photo of the ring for a long time. The small velvet box looked innocent in Chloe's hand. The diamond caught the light, bright and hopeful. Under it, her message felt soft and excited. "Do you think he'll say yes?" She had sent it to her mom, not knowing I was standing right beside her. My chest felt tight in a way I could not explain. Chloe was planning her future with me. She believed in us. She trusted me. And here I was, holding her mother's hand by the lake. Laura slowly pulled her hand away from mine when she saw my face change. She already knew what the message meant. "She's serious," I said quietly. "Yes," Laura answered. I looked down at my phone again. My fingers felt heavy. "She deserves better than this," I said. Laura did not argue. "She deserves honesty," she said instead. The word honesty felt sharp. I had not been honest with anyone, not even myself. I imagined Chloe kneeling in front of me with that ring. I imagined her smiling, waiting for my answer. I imagined saying yes just to keep everything simple. But simple did not mean right. I locked my phone and slid it back into my pocket. "I can't marry her," I said slowly. Laura looked at me carefully. "Are you sure?" Quote. I nodded. "I care about her. I do, but it feels forced, like I'm trying to convince myself instead of feeling it naturally." The truth felt painful but clear. Laura stepped back slightly, giving me space. "And what do you feel naturally?" she asked. The question hung in the air between us. I looked at her, really looked at her. I feel drawn to you, I said. It scares me. It makes no sense, but it's real. Her eyes softened. You understand what that means, right? She asked gently. If you choose this path, you lose Chloe. Maybe forever. I swallowed hard. I know. And you may lose other people too, she added. Friends, family. People will judge. I know, I repeated. The future with Laura would not be easy. It would not be accepted quietly. It would be messy and painful. But pretending to love Chloe the way she deserved would be worse. I need to talk to her, I said firmly. Laura nodded. Do it with kindness. That afternoon, I drove straight to Chloe's apartment. My hands were shaking when I knocked on her door. She opened it with a bright smile. You're early, she said happily. She pulled me inside and wrapped her arms around my waist. The warmth of her hug made my chest hurt. Can we talk? I asked. She stepped back slightly, confused by my serious tone. Of course. We sat on the couch. She looked at me with trust in her eyes. I took a deep breath. I know about Boston, I said. Her face froze. Mom told you, quote. Yes. Chloe looked down at her hands. I was going to tell you, she whispered. I just didn't want to scare you. I'm not scared of Boston, I said gently. She looked up. Then what is it? Quote. The next words were the hardest I had ever spoken. I don't think I can give you the future you want. Her eyes filled with confusion first, then pain. What are you saying? I care about you, I continued, but I don't feel ready for marriage. And it wouldn't be fair to say yes if my heart isn't fully in it. Tears began to form in her eyes. Did I do something wrong? She asked softly. My chest felt like it was breaking. No, I said quickly. You did everything right. This is about me. I thought I wanted the same things, but I've been confused. She stayed quiet for a long moment. Then she asked the question I feared most. Is there someone else? Quote. The room felt silent. I could lie. It would make things easier, cleaner. But I had already chosen honesty. Yes, I said quietly. Her face changed instantly. Who? I hesitated only for a second. It's complicated. Quote. Who, Ethan? Her voice broke slightly. I closed my eyes for a moment. Your mom? The silence after those words felt endless. Chloe stared at me like she did not understand the language I was speaking. That's not funny, she said slowly. I'm not joking. Her tears fell now. You're lying. I'm not. She stood up suddenly, backing away from me. That's disgusting, she whispered. That's my mother. I know. You betrayed me with my own family. The pain in her voice cut deep. I never meant for it to happen, I said. But the feelings are real. She shook her head in disbelief. Get out, she said quietly. I stood slowly. I'm sorry, I said again. Just leave. I walked to the door feeling like the worst person alive. When I stepped outside, the air felt colder than before. I did not go back to the lake. I went home and sat alone in my apartment for hours. Late that night, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Laura. Did you tell her? I stared at the screen before replying. Yes. 3 dots appeared almost immediately. Then her response came. She's here. My heart dropped. At my house, she added. I could imagine Chloe confronting her. The anger, the tears. Another message followed. She knows everything. I felt the weight of what we had done finally settle fully on my shoulders. Then, one last message appeared. Ethan, she told me something I never expected. My fingers tightened around the phone. What? I typed. A long pause. Then the reply came. She said she already knew.